All right, three, two, one. We are live, everybody.
Oh my God.
We're gonna have so many juicy nuggets for everybody. We're live here. We're not, well, technically live over Zoom, but we're gonna have the recap here. So we'll get started
Yeah.
with a fun intro, and then we'll get started with the rest of this. Hi, everyone. You're tuning in to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast, a space of epic positivity, radical self expression, and transformational growth. Join me in celebrating this beautiful thing we call life with even greater ease, flow, and authenticity. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We've got special guest Bren, but it is yantra.tulum, which is your Instagram,
Yeah,
correct? For all the beautiful things. For those
correct.
of you who do not know yet, you will soon. All of Brenda's beautiful, beautiful crochet and also beautiful wisdom for people as well.
Mhm.
But thank you guys so much for being here. It is such a pleasure. I'm your host, Nikita, and I trust, hope, and expect that you guys are all having a beautiful, beautiful day already. We're sitting down today, both live and over Zoom. We have tea. We've got cards that we're going to get into before this podcast. But for the beginning, how are you, Brenda? And how's your life? How's your day going?
Wow. Well, okay. First, super excited to be here.
Mm,
Stoked, as you would say.
stoked.
This
Yeah,
is
we're stoked.
this is a word I learned here in Canada. So I'm stoked to be stoked.
Of all the words to know and to get to learn, stoked. Yeah.
Right.
What would be
It's a
the
good one, huh?
equivalent of stoked?
Woo. De poca
Español.
madre.
La poca
De
madre,
poca
de
madre.
poca madre,
Yeah. Oh, de huevos.
de
Yeah,
huevos.
but it's kind of
Not de
like
huevos,
slang.
but de huevos.
Yes.
Okay, and
It's
this
like
basically means like I'm excited, I'm stoked.
very, very stoked.
Yeah, and you gotta use this as well.
Oh my God, you started the show with two bad words in Spanish.
Is it a bad word
No,
or is it
it's
just
not.
really
I mean, it's not a bad word, but it's a slang.
okay, sure.
So like you wouldn't use it in front of, like in a formal situation
Sure.
or in front of your grandparents or something.
Sure. So it'd be like saying, "Oh my God, I'm stoked to see you," like Queen Elizabeth, although rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth, but also like
Right, not like that. Right.
no. Okay,
Mm,
I would love to offer you some more tea. We have echinacea today. For those of you that know me, I always love having tea or something you're welcome
mm,
on the podcast. So today it is echinacea because it is
mm,
rainy, it is chilly, and love
mhm.
having even greater health in our lives. So,
If people could
cheers
see
to greater
outside,
health.
yes,
Yeah, and
cheers.
cheers to
Thank you so
everyone's
much.
great health.
Like I love these
Mm.
little rituals that I know you do as well. Like
Yes.
these nourishing things for your body, your
Yeah,
soul.
absolutely. And we're even talking about the medicine of life through rituals. And I know that
Mhm.
even in the past, because we're going to get into this, but even last night we had our own little rituals for the full moon in Taurus.
Oh
I'm
my
not sure
God.
what that means, full moon in Taurus, but I know we had a full moon in Taurus. And
Mhm.
so we're going to get into even more nourishing aspects, mind, body, spirit, and some of the ceremonies and rituals that you have not only created, but that you've been a part of,
Mhm.
and being able to help nourish the holistic aspect of our
Mhm.
life. And I would love to ask you to hold intention with me because I love drawing a card with my guests to help us just guide this beautiful podcast together and helping hold space for something even greater to come to light together. So if you would love to hold an intention with me,
Of
we'll
course.
put our energy into this and
Mm.
just hold space for something great to emerge. Would you love to do the honors of ruffle shuffling this?
Of course. Ruffle shuffle.
Ruffle shuffle.
Well, just right here, right?
Yeah, however you want to do it. Some people like to move it around, some people like to spread it all out, and
kind of
I
like
know we don't.
I'm not super expert
Oh,
on
it's okay. And even
doing this
shuffling,
one.
it's a big deck with a lot of
It's a
big
big deck,
cards.
yeah.
So, oh, nice
But they're not
one.
that hard.
No?
They're kind of soft, so if
Okay,
not,
good.
it's easier. Yeah,
Fantastic. I'm so happy to
great.
hear that they're in the even flow. I'll also actually I want to pull this one because the only card that was flipped up was this one, but I want you to pick a card too. It's the death card for
Whoa,
those of you
beautiful.
that can or cannot see it. The
You
death card was the
can't
only one that was flipped up, but I also want to see. Ooh, interesting
also.
that this
Uh,
one, the Nine of Swords. So we've got the death card and the Nine of Swords. Now,
It
death,
looks very powerful, this card.
yes, it really does. I would love to
Wow.
I would love to read this like the book from it because I always love seeing what the artist had in store for what it means
Mm-hmm.
and also our own interpretation. For
Mm-hmm.
me, immediately as we were talking about releasing the old in order to
Mm-hmm.
make way for the new, death is such a perfect card for this idea of renewal and being able to tap into what it like the essence of rebirth over and
Mm-hmm.
over and over again and
Right.
even knowing that our bodies itself goes through cycles of apoptosis, basically the death of the old cell, in order to make way for the new and even more vibrant cells that have taken in all the information that we keep accumulating and therefore
Mm-hmm.
we become new throughout our lives multiple times. And
Mm-hmm.
the Nine of Swords,
Yeah.
at least for me, um, it means like swords being like to cut away from as well. So decidere, the Latin root for to cut away from, here for me means that there's action steps that we take. And in order to continue to step into this new life, there are certain things that we need to cut away from in order to make space for the new. But also with this
Mm.
card, she's holding a bundle of sage.
That's what I was
Yeah,
watching
which
right
is
now.
cleansing rituals
Uh-huh.
that allow us
Yeah.
to, again, clear space, clear energy, clear ourselves, mind, body, spirit wise, in order to cultivate what it is we want instead. But what stands out for you in these cards?
Well, that the sage, and it just made me feel like very connected to this idea of that's
Mm,
exactly what we're gonna talk about.
mm,
And it calls my attention that she's walking in like in a garden,
mm.
right? In between flowers. I think everyone could
A
see
garden of
the
wildflowers.
wildflowers.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And this image of the swords in this position, um, it's
Mm.
like if they were floating in this space.
Oh,
I know, like it makes me think of it's something very connected to the outer space.
yes.
Well, but we are very connected to the outer space
Yeah.
since last night too.
Espacial.
Espacial, muy espacial.
Muy
Yeah,
especial. Um,
indeed.
so at least
Mm.
with and this is the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, for those of you who aren't aware, this is my personal tarot deck. And it says that a goddess stands amidst a field of overgrown wildflowers. Nine
Mm.
swords hang in the sky behind her. She holds a pomegranate referencing the high priestess to denote the nourishment we require to feel alive. In her left hand, she holds a bundle of sage to her nose, a herb known to cleanse and transmute energy. This may be a time of loss, frustration, anxiety, or worry. While you might feel like daggers are dangling over your head, look for your field of flowers and give
Mm.
yourself space to breathe. This card is traditionally dark, but whenever it is the darkest, we will soon see the light.
Mm.
Clear your energy to shine brighter. Connect back to yourself, acknowledge hurt, and release it. Keywords: past hurt, worries, meditation, cleansing, feel your
Mm.
feelings. What a powerful card, especially after last night with a lot of the energy that we're choosing to release, and this acknowledgement of past wounds, stories, narratives that we've been telling ourselves about ourselves that may not actually be true, and to encourage and hold space for this new version of us that we want to bring forth, the new Brenda and the new Nikita and the new version of us, and you, for people who are watching and listening, that there's something about your life that you may be telling yourself or experiencing that may no longer serve. And I always believe that things come up in our life, good or bad, but everything's neutral, and in order to be repatterned. So if there's something like a pattern that feels triggering, a cycle that you're like, oh, I've been here before, but it feels very painful, I always want to acknowledge that this is such a perfect time that it can't subconsciously, if it lives within us and in our bodies, and it can't be repatterned unless it sees the light. And so I just want to hold space for if there's anyone currently experiencing some painful part in their life right now, that to honor and recognize its existence, because this is a powerful time to be able to honor it and release it, because it can't be released unless it's in our awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like there's like this transmutation, yeah, aura or energy around that is calling like through these two cards, but not only, right? Because this is only the representation of what is really going on in our life moments and what we're doing right now and all the conversations that we've been having. And I like that you mentioned about making conscious something, because like that's, we also say like that if we name our demons,
Yeah.
so they are not gonna grow. Like if you name something, your fears, your demons, then that's, you just put light on it.
Yeah.
And then it's not gonna be like in the dark, just like growing like a monster. So like you can face it and you can actually make friends with it instead of being enemies, right?
Ooh, what a great way. Sitting down for tea with your demons. Yeah.
Basically.
So here,
Yes.
cheers to our demons.
Cheers to our demons.
And cheers to us for holding space and shining light on our demons.
For the best and the good.
For the best and highest intentions for not only ourselves, but our inner aspects as well. And so to transition from this, as someone who has traveled lots in your life, you have had such a diverse experience in so many different ways. And we're not going to get to touch all of that because I think it would require like so many more hours of this podcast. But more specifically, I would love for you to touch base for those of you who don't know Bren and aren't aware of the beauty of the ceremonies and rituals that you have experienced in life that have created the person you are today, which is someone so grounded in life, very like you just radiate this light and you radiate this deep inner sense of knowing yourself. And you also have a great way of holding space for others. And Temescal is something that you have recently introduced to me because I had no idea it existed, but I'm so happy that I got to experience what it means from your perspective. And one day I would love to experience it from my own eyes and my body and in the spirit as well. But for those of you, though, for those who don't know what Temescal is and the beauty and the healing that happens through this ceremony, could you describe it for people and your experience with it?
Yeah, of course. It would be my pleasure to share this. Well, first of all, thanks so much for all of that you said.
Yeah, it was such a pleasure.
That's very nice that you see me that way. And yeah, like I since I met you, I had the same impression of just like this very high frequency vibe, like, oh my God, who's this human being? Like, is she from here, from this earth? feels more like a fairy energy for me, like your presence. And thanks so much
Thank you,
for
Brenda.
sharing.
Takes one to know one.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. The Temescal. So it is a tradition. It's part of a tradition, indigenous on the Red Path. So the Red Path comes from Alaska to Patagonia. So it's all of America, right? It's the serpent. It's the Kundalini of America.
Ooh.
The continent, of course.
Yeah.
And well, so Temazcales represents the womb of our Mother Earth. So it's such a beautiful representation that when you go in and do in these rituals, you go inside of a kind of igloo, like just like to explain, but it's made of natural elements as well, earth, and sometimes it's covered by blankets. And it's like the structure can be different natural elements. It can be wood but it has the shape of an igloo, right? And it has a little entrance, like a hobbit entrance.
I would love that. Already you had me at Hobbit.
Right, like it's so pretty. Well, before you go in there, you do a salutation and ask for permission to the cardinal points, north, south, east, and west, which also represents the four elements, right? Water, air, earth, and fire. So you do this, you ask for permission to the guardians of the place. And this is guided by a temazcalera or temazcalero, someone who runs the temazcal.
Yeah.
And if this person is, of course, in the tradition and is a discipline with all the group of people that are studying the tradition and following it. So this person guides it, and we all go in the temazcal to see it all around. And in the middle, there's going to be this hole that's going to contain the hot volcanic rocks. These rocks are going to be outside, and someone that's called an eagle fire is this person, like making charge, is this guardian of the hot rocks. And it's just like having them, like, burning.
Yeah.
And it's going to take them inside of the Temazcal in every door, because there's 4 doors. Because we have the 4 elements and we have the 4 cardinal points, right? In each one of the doors is dedicated to one of the deities in the Nahuatl tradition, or it all depends on where you are, right? Because if you're in Alaska, they're going to have their own deities. And for us in Mexico, like either if you're in the Mayan zone or the Olmec zone or the Aztec zone, it's similar, but there's going to be like some small differences. So while this person is bringing the rocks, and during the process, so what's going to happen, like, let's say in general terms, because probably would be like a lot to explain, it would be too long, just like to. So in general terms, all the people, we are there inside to, well, first to connect with ourselves, to connect with our ancestors, because ancestors are very present in the temazcal, in the idea of the temazcal, right? And even the rocks, the volcanic rocks, are called las abuelas. Right? So they are the grandmothers, because these spirits have been here on earth forever, right? So they've seen everything. They know all the changes that the earth has had, the humankind, nature. So all the wisdom is in them. So that's why they're going to be the heart of the Temazcal burning. And they're going to be the medicine. So when we're there and we are, connecting, being guided by the Temazcalera or Temazcalero, we are doing chantings that are also of course, connected with each one of the elements, dedicated to each one of them. And we're going to be writing our intentions and prayings, either out loud, speaking out loud, or just like in your own meditation space, right? And okay, yeah, and of course the steam is going to be a very important element, because from these volcanic rocks, the Temescalero would have a bucket with all the water, like a kind of tip of plants that were boiling, you know. So it could be sage if you're more in North America, right? And so like all these plants are gonna pour it, like with something you grab, and then you have the volcanic rocks and pour it there. And this steam is burning, and it's just like, oh my God, it just covers you all with this delicious smell, and it feels, hot and warm, because you're in there and you can really feel you are into your mother's womb. That's the main idea. You go in to die and to reborn, to go out as a new person. So that's why you have to let yourself go of everything you don't need, to open up your heart, and to surrender. To surrender.
Wow. What I really want to do this now. Like I'm feeling so compelled to be a part of something so beautiful. And that's the word that kept coming to mind, something sacred. The word sacred kept coming to mind when you were talking about it, with this aspect that we go into the creation of the mother's womb in order to die and then be reborn. And I think this is perfect, especially for the cards that we picked today, with this death, this cleansing and this rebirth. And as someone who's been able to help people with this sacred ceremony, I remember that we talked before about these people who maybe were just doing it because their husband just wanted to do it, and they didn't really believe in it, and they didn't really have this connection to it. But then I remember you telling me that they went into this, and there was just something about the energy of the people that held space, that they were healed and something new came from this. So I would love for you to touch a little bit more on, because you were mentioning that not only is it the grandmothers who are the heart of it in these beautiful hot stones, these volcanic rocks, but the steam that we get enveloped in, there's so many tidbits that create the sacred ceremony. I would love for you to touch on a personal experience of maybe someone that you were that you witnessed this healing, the importance of the ceremony, and a renewal that came from it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think of more than a couple of persons who came with us to do it. And well, just as you mentioned first, okay, it was very common that people would come just joining someone else, and they wouldn't really have an interest, or they wouldn't believe in anything that has to be with spirituality. And for them, it would just be like, okay, I'm just gonna detox, right? Because it detoxes your body. It's like going in a sauna or a sweat lodge, because it's actually a traditional sweat lodge, right? So they would be like, well, I'm here for this. But then it's true that maybe like 95% of that persons, once they were there, they were touched by something. And I'm sure it's a bit of the kind of guidance that the persons that were doing this And I was helping, I was learning to do it, to do the Temescal, and I was supporting with the chantings and also with giving this support to the people if someone was feeling kind of like sick because you are in total darkness. Sorry, I didn't mention that, but this is an important element. It's total darkness inside of there and the heat. And sometimes people get like kind of panic attacks or anxiety. And so you're there to give them the strength and just tell them, okay, do this, go in the floor, you breathe close to the floor. So there's always air, and it's not that hot, it's more cold. So like just like all these tricks to for them to feel safe and to know that they're not gonna, that nothing bad is gonna happen. It's a safe place.
Yeah.
And I'm sure part of that was yeah, the intention and the love and the genuinity that we were putting on that kind of work. But it's also the biggest part is like the temazcal itself, right? It holds this energy itself. And so all the chantings are going in your subconscious, like the messages are going there, and it's they're just releasing so many emotions. So the people who wouldn't believe or didn't expect to do anything is the people who were the most touched at the end. So some people would end up like literally crying in a good way, just like, releasing stuff that were so stuck in their hearts. And we had a couple of confessions of someone saying, I have never told this to anyone, like ever, not even to my therapist. And it's like, I still get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because once we're there, we realize we are all medicine. And the statement is that if you heal, I heal. When someone else is healed, I heal. When I heal, the others heal. So like I feel like the Temazcal is a very very visible place where to represent this
Totally.
collective healing.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that you mentioned that we are medicine and that as I heal, you heal, and vice versa, that when we recognize that there's no disconnection between all of us, like we are connected fundamentally on a very minute scale, but also a huge scale, that there's no separation between us, like even the camera and us being like what feels like thousands of miles away from each other. Fundamentally, we are connected. And more and more these days, we're recognizing that to heal ourselves is to heal the collective, and things start to ripple. And so is there a ritual or ceremony that helps you unblock yourself in order to bring something new that you intentionally would love to hold? How's that?
Yeah. Of
Okay.
course it works. Well, yeah. So I would say I really miss doing Temazcal because that would be like a very powerful one.
Yeah.
When I was doing it, twice or three times a week at least, it was basically my therapy.
Wow.
Like my therapeutic space.
Yeah.
Besides, I was still doing the codificación emocional with my counselor.
Yeah.
Like this was a very important space. Then the other ritual, like is for me, is a therapy. Is my therapy is my ritual too, right? So I started with Lucia. She's a very, very important piece in my life to just like to help me and guide me to have so much clarity about all the things going on. When there's dark times, it's like well, okay, here we are. What's the work? What we gonna see? What was the point of this experience? And, and
Mm.
resurface.
Mm.
And when it's not a dark time and it's just like there's always something
Yeah.
that we can continue on, um, so putting some reflections on it, right? That
Yeah.
you can still like improve to feel better, or just to work on your relationships,
Mm.
with your friends, with your family, with the person I'm dating or something, right?
Yeah.
So the therapy is this would be my second ritual,
Mm.
but it's the one I've been holding on the most.
Yeah.
So that put it in the first place at this moment.
Yeah.
And the other rituals that are very important for me, that probably like a lot of people is gonna share this with me, like because I've met so many of us that we all have these little ones, like when you wake up, what's what you do first thing in the morning, right?
Mm.
And that it's so
Mm.
important because it makes your day shinier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, well, okay. Mine is when waking up, uh, always meditating,
Mm.
even if it's for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
if I'm in a rush. It's just gonna be like the first thing would be being with closed eyes and feeling like what's my body, right?
Mm.
Am I feeling my body? I'm feeling my bed, and just realizing how blessed I am to feel this gratitude of, oh my God, I have a nice and comfortable mattress. Oh my God, I have a room. Oh my God, I have my roommates next to me that are these beautiful souls. Oh my God, this house. Like just being thankful for all the little things.
Mm.
And when I wake up with my partner, okay, this is, I'm so grateful for this beautiful soul next to me sharing his his moment with me, right? For the things in distance, I try to think of a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like, thanks God, my parents, and I'm saying God just like in a very wide way, right? Like,
Mm.
just divinity, right? That's
Mm.
what it's for me. Thanks God that my parents are healthy. They are in their house. They are taking care. They are alive. That thanks to my kitty. So like all
Mm.
these details. That's my first ritual.
Mm. Mm.
Then if I have the time, I do my favorite mantra that I told to you about,
Mm.
Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. That how did you explain it? You explain it better
Ooh, in
than
terms of
me.
your mantra?
The meaning that it calls the Buddha, bodhicitta.
Oh, well, I remember when you were saying that your particular mantra, you said it awakens the Buddha within you.
That's what it.
And
Mhm.
so, for those of you who have a particular religion or spirituality that you connect to, then you can call upon that God, that goddess within you, that Buddha, that spirit, your highest self within you. And when we were talking about your particular mantra, the what came across is that you speak directly to your higher self, and that there's a part of you when you were saying that to help me through the hard times or to help me through the most amazing times,
Mhm.
we call upon our highest self to awaken
Mhm.
that sleepy part of you that's always with you, but may just be needs a little bit of encouragement. So to call upon it with your mantra, or you could even just
Mhm.
ask yourself directly, and say like I call upon my highest self. I call upon the spirit within me that is the most highest self, that feels
Mhm.
whole and complete, that is there's no disillusion between me and the power that is within me.
Mhm.
And so when you were saying that you do your mantras in the morning, I really love that your energy and your intention goes into it. I personally don't have a mantra yet, but I'm definitely going to borrow this mantra because
Yeah, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I'm learning Japanese, and this particular matcha is in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think you have the book over there as well that has the mantras in it. And for those of you who would love to delve into this, then I'll do my best to recreate it in the way so we can share it with people. And and yeah, and just and awaken that power, that Buddha, that
Mm-hmm.
highest self within you.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
love that
that's
you made
really
that a
great.
part of your ritual because it sets the you said it makes your day sparklier and it shines, and I really love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a powerful way of beginning your day more consciously instead of running the programs that maybe are very unconscious in our daily life.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it's very different to start your day with a positive thought, focusing on yourself, and maybe like it can be playing a mantra or just music that you really love that is giving you peace.
Mm,
Then starting your day by opening up your phone and looking at, all the stressful things from job or some problems that someone is throwing up to you. Like
mm,
I feel like we all have the decision on how to start our days,
mm,
and that is not true that we don't have the time
yeah,
to take a moment, right? Before
totally.
opening your phone or your computer.
What a great point.
I learned, sorry.
Oh no, please go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I learned that from like listening to all these neuroscientists or
Mm,
quantum physicists. I was like, yeah, okay, now it's right. I heard about this and then I tried, right? And I try every day, and
mm,
sometimes it's hard. Like,
yeah.
sorry.
No,
Uh,
no, no, please. Well, I love that you bring in the sciencey part of it because I think that there's a beautiful merging these days of the spiritual and the scientific that knows that there's just different perspectives, different knowledge, and different ways of talking about the same thing.
mm-hmm.
And pertaining back to your rituals, I remember that you said when we were talking the other day that you would wake up at 5 a.m. and even when it was really cold, you would still practice this particular mantra
Mm-hmm.
and you practice discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that is important when we're beginning something new, that there's this air of discipline and
Mm-hmm.
consciously cultivating a an attitude of I know that this is important for me and you make it important and it can't be a part of your day unless you keep doing it. And discipline
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to mean like hard.
Mm-hmm.
It just
Right.
means like you're making a point of doing it and
Mm-hmm.
you're making a disciplined point of doing it.
Right. And I think it also has to be very adaptable.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
adaptable.
but because maybe like, yeah, back in the days I did that. And right now I'm not gonna go outside in the cold 5
Yeah,
a.m. to do the mantra, right?
totally.
So like we're humans, right? We all have like stages and
Yeah.
periods of life. But if there's something that you really connect with and that you feel that has improved your life, I feel like you can stick to it,
Yeah.
even having certain adaptations. Like you
Mm,
can still be in your bed and you just sit in your bed and you're still warm and cozy,
yeah.
right? Or just like anything, if you have to travel very early, well, maybe you're in the plane and you're like, oh, okay, that's true. I haven't done it. I'm just gonna do it here, see that like for 5 minutes,
Mm.
just taking the space to that.
What a great point. Make it adaptable to your life because, I mean, we all have rituals. I'm sure there are things that you do where you like, when I wake up, I brush my teeth, I put on my clothes, I get ready, and you can
For my
brew
coffee.
your coffee or your
It's a big
tea
ritual.
or cacao.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was James Clear, Atomic Habits, who says that if you want to incorporate something better in your life, then you habit stack. And so what you were saying is that when I wake up, maybe I'll brew a cup of coffee or have cacao, and then while it's brewing, maybe I'll just sit quietly and you put it on something you're already doing to make it applicable for your life. And you also
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that to make it fun and to make it something that you actually want to do, that not only can help make your day more sparkly, because who doesn't love a sparkly day? And it like
Right.
sparkly days don't have to just happen on your birthday or on New Year's Eve or on the weekend. Like sparkly days can
Right.
happen when you want to make it sparkly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that incorporating rituals that when you said that I connect with my body and I say thank you God, thank you spirit, thank you universe for this body. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy and comfortable and warm in my bed. I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. unless I want
Mm-hmm.
to go outside in the freezing cold. No, I'm like warm in bed and I'm grateful for this.
Mm-hmm.
Grateful for my partner, grateful for my roommates, grateful for my parents. And I
For my
think
job,
for the
for
job that you have, yeah, they're I think when you touched on gratitude, I think that's a wonderful ritual to have to really come back to we are medicine and to heal ourselves. I know that gratitude is something that is so small that you can do in any point of your day. But I think to start your day off with gratitude helps set the tone for the rest of your day. Yeah, and
Mhm.
Brenda, I know that you were also not only a beautiful crochet artist. For those of you who cannot see, I wonder if could you show
Ah,
your
yeah.
beautiful feet on camera? It's like she's wearing these amazing crochet, what would you call them? Like
These I call them half-foot sandals.
half foot
Yes,
sandals.
because the barefoot sandals already exist, and this
Yeah.
is an original design because it has a bit of this.
Yeah.
Oh, like this. This is
Yeah,
the barefoot.
they're beautiful, but you do beautiful crochet. You are also a
Thank you.
counselor. And so there's a lot of beauty that you've cultivated in your life that
Mhm.
not only stem from your rituals and but also that have come from the people, the places,
Oh
the
my God, yes.
yeah, and so I would love for you to touch a little bit more on some of the beauty that you cultivate in your life, not just in
Mm.
the morning, but throughout your day that have might be medicine for you
Mm.
and then allow you to spread that goodness throughout your body, throughout life, because I know you have so many to share.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, no, like that this you mentioned about the people.
Yeah.
For me, this is the biggest gift
Mm.
and blessing that I could think of in life.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
absolutely. Um, I started recognizing at some point that, you know, when I was a little bit more aware of mm, when you start growing up and you realize the things that you have had the blessing
Mm.
to have in your life, and then you have sometimes to work or to fight to have them, to keep
Mm.
having them, then you value, right? You value it.
Mm.
Because if we never have to effort um to have some stuff, then it's like it's just for we just take it for granted.
Oh. Mm.
And so when I started like realizing all of these privileges of having of being surrounded by good people, caring people, and it was just more like visible, right?
Mm.
And as you said, like I've been backpacking for almost 10 years in the last decade, and uh, I what I could get from those experiences, besides, of course, the beauty of the landscapes and places I've been and all the things that, you know, experiences, is like, oh my God, the most amazing people that I've met when
Mm.
traveling, or that it was already my friend and they was still like, you know, like holding on to me, like supporting me, even when being far away from home. My friends
Mm.
from hometown or from Tulum or from anywhere that I consider my family, and we
Mm.
were still like, you know, like there for each other to listen, to send a message and to check on you, how you are, how you're doing. But It's also very remarkable for me to think of the people who's a stranger and for for whom you are a stranger, and they still open up their hearts and give you
Mm.
a special support in a moment when you really need it. And it's almost unbelievable, right? Like there's so many good people in this world. Like I feel like I've just found every time I am in a problem or in a situation that could be dangerous or just harsh, there's always someone who comes and or who was there or just pops up out of the blue, like, okay, what do you need? I help you. I can support you. And this is like, like fairies or angels or anything you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
Like that for me is, um yeah, I don't know, it's like the biggest gift I can think of. I know if that was your question, but
No, I think it's really beautiful when we're talking about ourselves and people as medicine.
Mhm,
And as someone who has been traveling for the past decade,
mhm,
I do actually want to touch on this remarkable way that you hold your energy and attract these people. Because I
mm,
think for other people who are traveling themselves or who are feeling a little uprooted, to lean on each other, I think is such a beautiful way of being able to cultivate a safer place, not only within ourselves, but our environment. And so
mhm,
I would love to know more specifically when you're traveling, how do you continue to ground yourself with these people
mm.
that because I know that you've experienced people who may not serve your highest intention, but
Yeah.
people who also serve your most beautiful intention. But in the aspect of having these rituals, these ceremonies, these
Mm,
healing aspects while you're traveling, how do you cultivate this sense of grounding, coming back to yourself while you're traveling?
mhm. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it's hard.
Mm,
It's not easy all the time. And sometimes I also feel like I got lost myself a little bit, right?
mm,
Just, yeah, like losing direction, or sometimes even just like the border to
mm,
lose faith of something.
mm,
But I also think that that is important.
mm,
It's good to feel that too, because that's what takes you back. And when you get the strength, so how did you get the strength to get back? That's your
mm.
question, right?
Yeah.
So, well, I guess that there's like different elements for that. Um, one of them, well, I personally believe in karma.
Mm,
So when there is something really bad happening to me, like this lady who I was renting a place for, and one day she banned me or forbidden me to speak Spanish in the house.
mm,
And of course, I couldn't take that. I was like, this is my first language.
mm,
And then she kicked me out of the house because of speaking Spanish.
mm,
Like these kind of situations, where it, of course, it disbalances me and it affects me.
mm,
But what the place where I go to is just like thinking, okay, what's the point of all of this?
mm,
What's my teaching here?
mm,
What do I have to learn from this? Trying to see the person with compassion
mm,
and just to see, wow, like this person is going through a lot of suffering.
mm,
Honestly, like her life is not what she wanted to. Maybe she's frustrated. Yeah, like she's of course putting all of that in me.
mm,
And not only in this particular case, but any case that someone is just like, like being mean to you or anything, there's always something behind that person, right? Some trauma or some very, very difficult moments going in their lives. They are not in their self. And maybe their heart has become like that. But that's not your fault. And
Yeah.
okay, yeah, this. Um, I always try to think to see that is not personal.
Oh, and how do
I
you
think that's what helps the most
not see it as personal when
when it's
it
personal.
feels like a personal attack? Yeah, especially when you're been invited into someone's home and then it can feel hard to say like they're going to kick you out for being who you are. And how do you not see that as personal
That's
and
a
how do you exercise compassion?
that's a super tricky question and answer.
Yeah. I bet there's
Very
layers.
philosophical, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure if with my level of English I would be able to explain this,
Sure,
but
that's okay. Yeah.
but so what looks like personal, I think, is never personal. So why? Because this person has all of this within her or within him.
Yeah.
That's inside of this soul, this
Yeah.
person's soul. And so me here outside of the other person,
Yeah.
I'm just a mirror. And and in this moment I just came to trigger something within that person. And so whatever this reaction is, the reaction is themselves. It could be me, it could have been other person, other moment, other thing that happened.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, okay, it's not really me. It's not really me, although it was me the trigger.
Yeah.
But I'm not the reason. You have that there. Because because if you put me in the same situation, I would never react like that. So why? Well, because I don't have that inside of me. So that's it. So it's never the other person. It's always me.
Yeah. Yeah. And vice versa. It's never me, it's the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Well,
Makes sense.
it absolutely makes sense. And I appreciate that level of perspective because it can feel very hard sometimes for people to not take it personally. And and it takes a level of strength, inner strength and self-awareness. And I'm assuming many years of personal work, especially since you said that you've been working with, is it Lucia? Is that your counselor or your
Yes,
therapist?
Lucia.
So thank you, Lucia. Shout out to Lucia for
Lucia,
for
Milu.
being a part of your life because I think um it offers also healing to the other person to not take offense. But also on that note, when how do you heal from something like that? Because sometimes we can say, oh, I just don't take it personally, but maybe someone's not there yet. And they're like, I'm for sure taking this personally right now.
It still
How
hurts.
it still hurts. So how can we acknowledge that hurt while also being able to, especially with the theme of this podcast, how can we release that in order to bring in something more intentional, something more vibrant, and something more sparkly within us, and to let that person go or let that feeling go while still honoring like, ouch, like that didn't feel good.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, like even when I was seeing this situation, like it's not personal, it was still hurting, right?
Yeah.
It was still affecting me in a way that it just changes, like you just have to figure out now all facing all the problems that you were not facing before because someone did something that was disrupted, right?
Yeah.
So I understand, yeah, like what you are asking is like, how do you pass that moment and heal it? For that, I just feel like there's so many tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Nowadays, there's so many kinds of therapies or just like going and if you have developed certain skills for your rituals. Psychomagia, psychomagic.
Oh, do
Have you
tell.
heard about
Tell me all about psychomagic.
it? Ooh, ooh. Well, I'm not an expert, but I really like the school of Jodorowsky. He's a Chilean,
Mm.
well, he is many things. Filmmaker, and he reads tarot. He's a tarot
Mm.
reader, very, very good one. He has written books about tarot with explanation of archetypes and stuff, like very
Mm.
different too than the regular readings. He created this concept of psychomagic that, for me, it basically refers me to all the rituals that humankind has had forever.
Mm.
Like indigenous tradition has had it, or you have it when you do your yoga in the morning or your coffee.
Mm.
And there's certain elements that are sacred, that are important for you,
Mm-hmm.
but he just explain it and take it to another level.
Okay.
And so he creates this concept to say that you can build your rituals
Hmm.
for healing,
Mm. Mm.
for a healing process.
Yeah.
So there's many kinds. Like he has a whole school, right?
Yeah.
But we don't have to go like super deep on that. Just like taking the basics from that idea, for me would be like, okay, well, how does this makes me feel? Well, I felt, I don't know, and whatever it was, um betrayed, underrated, or well, blah blah blah. Okay, so maybe I could, creativity helps a lot.
Mm.
Maybe I can just write it down, and what's going to make me feel that I can release it. Well, releasing for me maybe is burning that paper,
Mm.
like making a little ceremony on my own,
Mm.
putting there like all I feel and just letting it go and then burning it out. And that's
Mm.
my ritual for healing, right? My
Mm.
psychomagic. Or just going into the ocean, and losing it in a, like,
Mm.
something, of course, that is biodegradable, please.
Yeah.
Don't let go of garbage in the ocean.
Yeah. Totally. Save the planet,
But
please.
but right, just like very symbolic things.
Yeah.
Mm. That
Mm.
that's one of the ways, of the tools that I feel like, yeah, therapy or your own rituals. There's so many other tools. You can sometimes just watching a podcast that
Mm.
explains to you how your brain works. Like, I love watching. I follow so much to people like Greg Braden,
Mm.
like Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton,
Mm-hmm.
so many ideas for that,
Yeah.
because each person feels different, right?
Totally. And such a great note for releasing. And so you were mentioning that it's whatever feels really good for the people. And
Mm-hmm.
for yourself, when you were mentioning, like, it could be like taking a shower and releasing it off, or going into the ocean and being able to cleanse yourself there, or writing down and burning it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that for those who would love to begin a ritual to allow and bring in something even greater in their life, do you have any other tips or messages or techniques that can allow people to more easily create a ritual in their life, to release and to be able to intentionally hone in and bring something in for their next chapter in their life, or their next phase they would love to come into?
Mm. That's a big question. If do I have some advices to do that? Of
Yeah,
create your own ritual.
totally.
Ah,
Or enhance a ritual they
mhm.
already have.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess that I'm like very spontaneous and
Mm.
intuitive with that.
Mm.
But what is true that in general terms, there is archetypes, right?
Mm.
Like in unconscious mind. So for the archetypes, humankind sees the earth as the mother.
Yeah.
That's an archetype. Then the sun is the father.
Mm.
The fire, is power, passion, transmutation. The
Mm.
water is calming, cleaning,
Mm.
purifying.
Mm.
So, if you are kind of connected with the archetypes that are going to be in your subconscious, you don't really have to
Mm.
think about it.
Yeah.
Then from that, you know what you need to do.
Yeah.
Like you feel like, oh, I need to purify
Mm.
this moment of my life. Okay, so maybe you create something with water, right? Or
Ah.
if you feel like, oh my God, I feel like the presence of my father is so important right now, and I don't have him with me right now.
Mm.
Okay, well, I go out and take a walk under the sun, and like just feel the sun, because that's gonna connect me
Mm.
with this presence.
Yeah.
That would be like a very general
No,
clue.
that's beautiful. Yeah, and I
Or
think
flowers, like
uh,
flowers blossom and
from the earth.
from the earth, and gives you
Mm.
the feeling of beauty, um, love, colorful, shine.
Mm.
So that's what I need right now,
Yeah.
because I don't know, maybe I was rejected by my partner or someone I really like, and I don't feel pretty. Okay, so
Mm.
I need to connect with beauty. So I do a ritual with
Mm.
flowers, right?
Oh,
Use imagination.
oh, I love that. I love that you were saying like if you're something that came to mind when you said that is that if there's something you feeling like you're missing or need to bring into your life, cultivate it. And especially if you're saying like, oh, I'm not feeling beautiful, so I would like to channel beauty by like creating like a beautiful vase or something like that to enhance that beauty. And I think it's also nice to know that we can check in with ourselves, and especially like we were saying at the beginning of this podcast, like we can use mantras, or we can use invocations to channel our inner Buddha, our highest self, that power, that inner essence that knows exactly what we need. And if we need a little help or a little boost and guidance, we don't need to look outside of us, but we can really look within us to know exactly what we need, because that inner knowing, our like our higher self, our inner Buddha knows exactly what we need, and all we need to do is ask.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Brenda, for being such a wealth of knowledge, for being such a bright light, and for all of the experiences that you've had to allow us to cultivate something even more beautiful for people on the space and on this podcast, because it's been such a pleasure to get to
Mm.
know more rituals and ceremonies to be able to enhance our lives, but also the beauty of what you're creating just in your own life. And so for those who
Thank
would
you
like
so
even
much
more,
for opening this space
such a
and for all
pleasure.
your energy.
It was
Such a
such a
beautiful
pleasure to
words.
have you here, really, truly, and I would
Oh.
love to have you on again. And I know everyone else would as well. But if they would love to reach you before the next podcast, is there a place, a space, an email, a website? All of this will be linked down below, but that people
Mm.
can reach you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, yeah, like one of the most important things I want to share with the world in order to heal, to be medicine for each other,
Mm,
is the counseling.
yeah.
Because I've been studying these two, like the same counseling I take with Lucia, she was the one who introduced me to this. And I'm absolutely in love with decodificación bioemocional.
Mm,
So you work with your present life, and go to your memories and heal them. But you can also go
mm.
way back in the past to your ancestors to find the origin of certain stuff that you want to change in your life. It can be a symptom or just and the way you feel about something or not finding a partner or economy, anything. And you go there and you also heal it, right? So for the counseling, that's something that I would really like to share. My phone would be there. That for WhatsApp is I can do online sessions. It's 2291-083913.
Yeah.
And for the crochet, which is also a medicine for me, just like being there, meditating. That is so fulfilling for my soul, and I'm sorry.
I was like, we have tea. Yes, please have tea. Tea for the soul and for the throat.
Yeah, because here is very cold. Whoever is not in Canada,
we ride polar bears to school. Not actually, but I wish.
And well, yeah, okay. So for the crochet, I work with the sacred geometry, with the pattern of the flower of life.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one. So from that, I do the bikinis or the half foot sandals.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Instagram is yantra.tulum.
Yeah.
So yantra is with Y because it's like a mantra.
Yeah.
But a yantra is a visual mantra. So that's why yantra.tulum.
I love that. I actually didn't know the story behind that, but I know it so much more. And again, all of this will be in the show notes so you can easily click and discover, especially the crochet. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. And I know everyone else will want it, especially for those in sunny areas. Even if not sunny areas, you said it was really great for when you're doing yoga to help keep your feetsies in place. So I know people are absolutely going to want many, many of those. They're so beautiful. And also the wisdom that you share, especially being able to create an even brighter future, we got to let go of the past, because if our cup is filled with old stories and narratives and things, even from that we don't even know are there, to be able to work with you and to release our past in order to cultivate a new and even brighter future, I think is beautiful, and people are absolutely going to want to connect with you on that. So make sure to check her out.
I feel honored for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so thank you, Brenda, for being here with me today, because it has been an absolute pleasure to be here with everybody. And until then, I trust, hope, and expect that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And until then, we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, thanks to everyone too.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful space and I hope that this project is always growing and blossoming in the way your heart is. Your beautiful heart. And so thank you so much, Hermana, and to everyone.
Thank
Have a
great
weekend.
A great weekend, a great day. Yeah.
Let's keep being medicine for each other.
Let's keep being medicine for each other.
That's my wish.
That's our wish for everybody. Bye. Aho! Thank you all for joining me today, because it has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star review and share it with all your loved ones, because it helps in creating even more awesome content. If you're interested in learning how to effortlessly create even more health, vitality, and time and money freedom, sign up for my free monthly vision workshop live over Zoom. Until then, I hope you all have a powerful day, and I look forward to chatting with you all real soon.